Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to invite you to think about the last time you had a big family meal. You know, one of those meals where you eat, you talk, and at the end, you feel insanely full. For me, that was last Friday. I have a big family, and the idea was that every member of the family would make a course, and you feel sort of obligated to eat something from everything, and you're completely full. And that's what I'm interested in. We're trying to figure out how this being full works. What does that have to do with how much you eat, and what does it have to do with what happens in the stomach? Now, in order to research this, we use this technique. And this is me, a cross-section of me in the MRI. And let me assure you, at this point, I'm painfully aware that the previous speaker showed pictures of herself training as an athlete at a world level, and I'm showing pictures of myself eating and my fat that we learned from the first presentation of the day. But this is an MRI, and what you see here at the top is my heart and liver, and that small little white thing on the side is my stomach. Now, in this session, I was lying in an MRI machine, and I drank some water, and we let the water drain from my stomach, and I'll let the movie run, and you can see the stomach filling up with water and then emptying again. Now, as you can see, the water is draining from the stomach, and it's actually going into my intestines, and we call this process gastric emptying. And here you see a slice of me going this way. Now, for our research, we use different types of slices. We use slices, like this, where we have the person laying on their back, and we go cross-sectionally. So you see the two arms, you see the liver on the side, and you see, again, the stomach, the white thing on the side. The white stuff is stomach content. And what we use these slices for is to determine the surface area of stomach content. And if we have enough slices of the stomach, we can calculate the volume that is inside the stomach. Now, I also always have to laugh a little bit when I see these sorts of slices at the beginning of a session, because a lot of the research in our area of nutrition starts with phrases such as, the participants came to our facility in a fasted state. Now, the interesting thing is that when we make these MRI slices, we can actually see whether they are in a fasted state. And I can tell you, out of the 15 participants in my first study, even though they knew we could check, one of them had a cappuccino just half an hour before the session, and the second one ate half a kilo of Chinese food after some pressing on my side. So think about that the next time you read it in paper. They came to our facility in a fasted state. So using these slices, we can calculate the volume that is inside the stomach. We can calculate the content. And by doing that over a period of time, we can actually calculate the draining of the stomach, or the process of gastric emptying. Now, in order to see the differences in that, we used 4 different stimuli. So we had 500 calories, which is sort of meal size. We had 100 calories, which is like snack size. And we would use 4 different shakes, 2 of which were thin, like this. So this is chocolate milk, and it's sort of similar. And we had 2 stimuli which were thick, like this custard. And they would drink about half a liter of this. It's not too bad. And when I show you then the emptying curves of these stimuli, you see in the red is the 500 calorie condition, and the thick line is the thin version, and the thin line is the thin version of this. You see that the emptying, the volume stays highest in the stomach, so the emptying is slowest for the 500 calorie shakes, and the emptying goes quickest for the 100 calorie shakes. And we see that the thick version of the 100 calories goes a little bit slower than the thin version of the 100 calories. And the question we then ask ourselves is, does this stomach distension, this volume in the stomach, actually mean something for how full you feel? So we decided to take a look at that. And when I show you these results, I show you the gastric emptying only of the 500 calorie thick condition and the 100 calorie thin condition, because those are the most extreme. And what we see here is that fullness actually very closely corresponds to what we see in the stomach. Basically, you feel fuller with 500 calories and a thick liquid in your stomach than you do with a thin 100 calorie version. But the interesting part are the two other ones. Because what we see here is that gastric emptying is slower for the thin liquid, which has more calories. But when we look at the fullness curves, we see the exact opposite. You actually feel fuller with a 100 calorie thick shake than you do with a 500 calorie thin one. So the conclusion that I want to leave you with today is that feeling full and being full aren't necessarily the same things. Thank you for your attention.